Hola, clase. This past lesson was on the verb estar, which means to be. So we learned how to conjugate it, which means the forms that it uses based on who the subject is and when to use it. That's not quite as straightforward as it seems. Estar means to be. There's another verb in Spanish that also means to be, and that is ser. In English, we just have one way of saying both of those things. But in Spanish, estar and ser are used differently. So we went over when to use estar. So we conjugated the forms. So the forms in English, in English, to be is actually an irregular verb. It's slightly irregular in Spanish, but only in a tiny way. In English, it's I am, you are, he or she is, we are, you are, and they are. So that am and is are a little different than are in all the other forms, right? Based on who the subjects are. But in Spanish, I am is yo estoy. This is the main irregularity in estar. Usually all verbs, the yo form, the I form, ends in an O. This one happens to end in an OY. So yo estoy, tú estás, él or ella or usted está, nosotros estamos, vosotros estáis, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes están. The other irregularity is that there's an accent on the A on the tú form, the L form, and the ellos form. There's not usually accents on those forms, but there is for the verb estar. So all of those mean to be. I am, you are, he or she is, we are, you all are, and they are. So one of the main ways we use estar is to express a temporary state. So how you're feeling in a given moment, it might change. If you're happy and then you hear some sad news, you're sad. So that state has changed. So emotions and feelings, even states like sick, or healthy, those are all estar. Whereas more permanent characteristics, things that don't change so suddenly, like I'm blonde, that would be the other verb of to be. But we're not getting into that today. So we went over some emotions. Felíz is happy. So you would say, estoy feliz, I am happy. Triste, estás triste, are you sad? Cansado, cansado, tired, serio, serious. Enojado, angry. Nervioso, nervous. And asustado, scared. There's also aburrido, which is bored, and enfermo, which is sick. Now, almost all of those end in O. All of them that end in O will change to an A if you're a female, or if you're talking about a female. Also, they would get an S on them if you're talking to more than one person or about more than one person. So if I'm talking to the class, I'm saying you all are serious, I would say vosotros estáis serios. Right? Or ustedes están serios. If I'm talking to a girl and asking, are you tired? I could say, ¿estás cansada? But if I was talking to a boy, I would say, ¿estás cansado? Okay? So they agree in number and gender, just like adjectives do also. I guess these are adjectives, right? Cool. So that was the main part of the lesson. We played charades with some of those. Other uses of estar are to express location, and then also to answer questions of where, which in my opinion goes right along with location, right? So locations and temporary states, you will use estar, right? Where is the bathroom? ¿Dónde está el baño? There's a couple little more vocabulary words on the bottom of page 39. And then we also went over 40 and 41 in class, en la casa, en donde está. We just went over these orally. Don't worry too much about writing them down, because I don't know. I didn't think they were terribly wonderful activities. That's introducing some items in the house, but they don't really tell you what these words are. That's why we did them orally. I just told you guys what they are in class. Like el refrigerador, refrigerator. La estufa, sofa. Los gabinetes, cabinets. Right? So it's asking what is in the kitchen. So not the sofa, right? The refrigerator and the cabinets. So anyway, we went over that in class. And then also the donde está, where is it page. You just ask the question, or you answer the question that's asked. So number 1, donde está Miguel? You would put Miguel está en la cocina. En la cocina is down in parentheses. The answer is in parentheses, but you just have to put the subject and then whichever form of estar matches that subject. That would be a good one to do. You probably will come across some words you don't know, but it's always good practice to look them up. And that's it for this time. Adios.